32 participants at the moment. More are entering the room every second. And I'm very happy to be here at the moment of the first day of serious talks. Yesterday, we opened the Rebuild Gathering with some very beautiful interactions, with a lot of art and creativity, because at the end of the day, art and creativity is a very important part of the whole regenerative movement, because we have to envision things, we have to imagine things, we have to dream up beautiful scenarios that we later want to inhabit. But today we're going to get a little bit more serious. We are going to get ourselves a little bit more involved in the nitty-gritty aspects and practical aspects of what it means to build a regenerative village, what it means to create a social project in your community that has the kind of impact that you're looking for. So, because we're going to get into serious things today, but it is very important also to not forget that there is an emotional point of resonance that we need to tap into, because that will make this whole journey so much more fruitful, so much more fun, and so much more prosperous for everybody. So, if you are on the call and you are not too ashamed of your personal appearance, may I ask you to please turn on your cameras? Yeah? Good. Very nice. I see smiles, I see familiar faces, I see people ready to share practices and graces. I see so many souls committed to transforming the world, yeah. And so, if this begins from a deep emotion, if it begins from a feeling that needs to change, I would like to explore the full dynamic range. Yes? Let me hear a little bit of excitement. Who's excited today? And who's excited for some speakers? For what speakers? Maybe you want to share them with me real quick. You can put them in the chat, or you can, for example, unmute yourselves really quickly and tell me what you are excited about today. Hey. If you can't turn on your camera, that's all right. It's fine. We feel your presence. But I would like to know what you're looking forward to today, my lovelies. Hemp. Yes, there will be a lot of that. Hope you're not smoking it, but using it productively. Meeting other communities. Lovely. Beautiful. Anything else? Anything else on your minds, on your hearts? I see hemp is very popular. All right. There are 4 principal pillars that this gathering is built on. The first one is planet and a shared love for the planet. The second one is the purpose driving these human beings. Then we have the people, which would be the third aspect. And then we have prosperity, which also touches on the subject that Steven said he would love to talk about, governance and shared power. And that's what he's feeling. So we're going to be really constructive today, but let's leverage all of these 4 things in turn. Before we begin this day of sessions, I would like to invite you to enter an elevated state of collective flow, because it will make things much more productive for you. And it will also feed that emotional part of you for which you came here to this gathering of amazing individuals. So we're going to do a little thing called a flux. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jurgis DID, and I have been working with companies, organizations, and communities all over the world to bring them together. And the recipe is quite simple. First thing we need to do is to establish connection. We need to establish connection with one another for us to build any sort of community. So I would like to ask you all, if you're present, to turn on those cameras. And I'd like to ask you all to come a little bit closer. A little bit closer. Just a little bit closer. I want to see you, almost smell you through the camera. A little bit closer. A little bit closer. Beautiful. Yes. And I'm going to give you a kiss hello. Mwah. Yes. Very nice. Nice. Now let's get all hands on deck before we begin. Let's do a very simple activity where we acknowledge that for us it is comfortable not only to see, but to be seen. So I'm gonna ask you to do something really simple. I'm gonna ask you to put 2 fingers in the air. 2 fingers in the air, like this. There's one and the second fingers, like this, chat. And I want you to sing to one another something very simple as, you and me, you and me. You should be pointing them. You and me, that's right. You and me, we're building a community. You and me, yeah. You and me, yeah. You and me, you and me, you and me. Jane, yes, you too. Very nice. Once you've established connection, it is very important to establish a sense of coherence. So, leveraging a little bit the idea that we are here with a shared purpose, which is very similar but not always the same, I would like to hear from all the people in this virtual audience what you feel your purpose here today is. And we can use the chat if you like, but I would like to hear your voices, and I would like you to feel that this is a space where you can share. So you just go ahead, knowing that destiny will not let you down. Just unmute yourselves and tell me why you are here. What is the purpose? What is the thing you are after? What is the thing that makes your heart beat and you take every step along the way towards a regenerative future? Go ahead.
Knowledge.
Knowledge. Good one.
Renewable energies to communities.
You're inspired by renewable energies. That's lovely. Who else? Who else? Who else? Who else?
Inspiration from others.
All right. Everybody got excited one at a time. Let's try it again. I heard inspiration and nothing else. Let's try it again.
I want to be part of the global climate change mitigation communities.
All right. You want to feel you want to make a change when it comes to climate change. Who else?
Healing.
Healing. Let me ask, is that personal healing or is that planetary healing? Or you think both are intertwined and can't be separated?
I said feeling, but healing is fine for me. I think feeling will lead to healing.
That's true. Feeling will lead to healing. All right. Who else?
Village cooperation, global networking.
Yes, global networking and village cooperation. I love it. What else? I didn't hear it. You're gonna need to talk louder, brother. Very little. Something very special. All right. Well, I want you to know that all those purposes, all those feelings, all that healing, all that desire for an outcome is very much at home here. You are in your community. You are within a group of friends who share your common aspirations. That's why they call it a community. We have something common bringing us together. Now, because it is difficult to express it through words and complex concepts sometimes, I would like to suggest we do something simple. I would like to bring this community into coherence through a simple exercise, medieval ancient technology for harmonizing humanity that's been used for thousands and thousands of years, which is simply sharing breath. So we're just gonna take a deep breath in and we are going to weave our breaths with something as simple as an Om. Just to know that we're on the same note, that we're on the same page, that we're experiencing the same thing, that we're hearing the same thing, and that we are expressing on the same vibrational level. So I'm gonna ask you all to take a deep breath in and give me an Om. Go. It's always necessary to do 3. Do more. And the last one, deep breath in. Coherence is a lovely concept because coherence means that everything seems to be in place. If you're hearing my voice, if you're expressing yourselves on the same note, you're sending a very interesting community building protocol handshake that is informing everybody that you are listening and that you are also ready to contribute and be part. So, we have coherence, we have connection. Care is a very important part of this equation as well. To feel that someone has our interests in mind the same way that we have our own, and to know that we can have other people's interests in mind, and that is the best way of pursuing our own. Now, there are several tricks to do it, but because we are limited in time, the best one is to express a little bit of love and emotional gratitude to the people here. So, let's begin with the first one, which is easy. If you're thankful and grateful to be here, can I hear a thank you?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And after we say thank you, it's much easier to say the stronger one, which is I love you.
I love you, my
Love you.
friend. I love you.
I love you.
I love you.
I love you.
And many of you I've never
Love
met in
you.
person. Many of you I'm only meeting online for the first time. But that makes no difference because I know that our emotions, our purposes, our feelings are in line. And because I feel that deep resonance, I can allow myself to say from the deepest well of my heart, I love you. And I would like to also invite you during the next 2 days, te amo, te adoro, to be generous with your love, to be generous with your praise, and also to know that you can receive praise as well. So do something for me. Put your hands up like this, chick, 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 put your hands up like that. I'm going to say, I love you sincerely. And then I want you to put one hand like here, check. I want you to put the other hand like here, like this, check. I want you to give yourselves a big hug. And look at the people on the screen and imagine that it's them giving you this virtual squeeze. I love you. Now, good. Now that we have care down, now that we have coherence and connection down, let's do something fun. Are you in for some fun? Are you in for some fun? Let's get into collaboration, because once we have these elemental parts to the equation, it is super important to do something with it. And knowing that humans are super good at becoming more than the sum of their parts, it is always also good to have a little activity which can be a testimony to this. So I need to hear those hands are clapping. Actually, keep yourselves muted. Keep yourselves muted, but I want to see you clapping. And sing. Hey oh, hey oh, hey oh, ziggy diggy datu, hey oh, tagaragara, hey oh, diggy diggy datu, hey oh. Keep yourselves muted. Hey oh, diggy diggy datu, hey oh. Don't stop, don't stop. Hey oh. You're bringing the vibes in this virtual room to the outside world. Your friends, your neighbors, your spouses, your children are now hearing you bring that hail into another space. That's right. This is us working together to amplify the signal of what is happening here. And even if I stop the music, and you keep singing the hey-oh or hey-oh. You're doing your part to maintain this vibe. Now, hey-oh might sound a little bit boring. For me, it sounds a little bit simple. I know that you people are capable of much, much more. I want you to try one we were singing yesterday. We were singing la 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 la. La 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 la. Good. I'm gonna hold the beat. I want you to sing that loud. La 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 la. We can all unmute. La 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 Beautiful. We've checked most of the community building boxes. Collaboration is lovely because this could be just me singing songs, but the moment that you're singing together, it becomes therapy. It becomes also a community effort. It also becomes a testament to people working together. Now, what I'm talking to you, what I'm talking about, rather, is the way that we've been building communities for hundreds of thousands of years. The way that we're gathering around fires. The way that we are establishing eye contact. That we're allowing ourselves to feel safe in a space. And so the question is, once we feel that we have a connection, a rapport, what can we bring into the space? What can we envision? What are our personal dreams that we can weave with other people around us? And that is what we are here to do. Because I know that many of you have your own regenerative projects, you have your own regenerative visions. And now what I would like to do is a little bit of an experiment. I would like to jam. I would like anyone who feels they have a clear vision to share it right now with the group. And when you feel that it's your moment to contribute for the next 2 minutes, just let us know. What is your vision? It could be you sitting by a lake, surrounded by beautiful human beings, knowing that the water you are using is the same that is in our bodies, in the lake, in the glass, and things like that. My vision is not as eloquent as could be. I know that someone can jump in and probably share something better. What vision do you have that you wish to pursue, that you wish to share with those here in this room with you? Is it a sentence? Is it something you've seen in your dreams? Let me give you the opportunity.
Hi, Jurgis. I'm so happy to be here with you all. I have this vision that came to me a couple years ago when I first met Jurgis, and it was a simple message to remember, but to come together and remember the original message. Intention was never divide and conquer. It was divine and conquer, to be intuitively in accord.
If you're feeling these visions, just give me a Divine and concur. Who else has a vision for us?
I have the vision of a globe of villages, colorful, like a dress on Mother Earth. Gaia walks in colors. Each one is different. Each one gives a special expression to one facet of the human nature. But they all are sharing whatever they achieve. It's like being focused on one place and being the whole planet at the same time.
That's absolutely beautiful. Gaia walks in colors. Gaia walks in colors. Can I get an Let's do one more. Who else has a vision for us?
I have a vision.
Shoot, brother.
So my vision is a green planet, even though we are 1.2 degrees Celsius at the moment. 1.5 is possible. I want to see it more green, with more plants and clean electricity. That's my vision.
Who is here for greening? Who wants a greener planet? Who wants a greener planet to go with a beautiful blue? Can we get a really nice heartfelt from everyone here, from all of yous? Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is just but a feeling of what this space is about. It's a place where you are in complete resonance, where you can be safe with your audacious and bold ideas, with your dreams. That is the spirit of collective creativity, where then our visions can become more than the sum of their parts. Now, because my time is coming to an end and you have a lovely long day ahead, I would like to invoke the last principle of building a community, which is commonwealth, which is the idea is that everything that we're doing for the whole, that we're not creating just for ourselves, we're creating for 7 generations after us, maybe more. That the goodness developed here is not just so some person can take it to their startup or to their business and profit off of it, but for the sake of humanity. And much like this musical experience, which is here, not for my benefit, but for everyone in the room. With that note, I would like to do something right now. I'd like to pass on this emotion to Annie, Jeremy, Anton, Sam, and the rest of the Rebuild team, who are going to take us away. And I'd just like you to keep this vibe, keep this emotion that you are in community. You are together. You right now are more than the sum of your parts, with your dedication, with your knowledge, with your ambition, with your desires. Sit with that for a second. And if you're feeling nice, going into this day of intense talks and sharing information, can we get one last thank you for the whole team?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jurgis.
Jurgis, that was amazing.
What a beautiful way for me to wake up, because I'm on a 7 a.m. on this side of the world. I feel so grateful and honored to be amongst all of you, so inspired. And yes, we're looking forward to the day. We'll let Jeremy introduce our very first speaker of the day.
Can you hear me okay? How's that? Is it quiet or is it coming through good? Okay, let me just try a different speaker. Microphone. How's that? Is that any better? Yeah, okay, good. Okay, then we're good. Okay. So building on the beauty that Jurgis has brought into our lives this morning, today, wherever you are in the world, this coherence, this collectiveness, this understanding that we're not separate. We are all one. We're one. We are nature. Everything that we do is connected to something else, and in turn connected to something else. And as a result, none of our actions are in a silo, in a void, in a closed space. We are always connected. We are all one. And this is a core part of starting to think and understand a little bit about our sense of purpose. If we start to think of our lives as being separate, we start to be competitive. We're comparing ourselves to another person. But if we start to think of ourselves as unique, and yet at the same time interconnected and one. This is a very kind of unique paradox, an interesting paradox to hold, but it gives us meaning. And meaning is something that our next speaker, our first keynote on the main stage on the Village Square, Angela Bermudo, has been in search of for some time, where she wants to look at how we can empower people with empathy and through wisdom sharing and bridging the gap between indigenous wisdom, indigenous communities, the stewards of the land, and those around the world who are connected, very much deeply connected to this idea of unity with nature and oneness. And then the modern world, the world where we feel this separateness, this disconnection. And Angela has been on an amazing path, an incredible journey. She's been the co-founder of Future Horizon, which has been a digital community of global influencers and artists and creatives and builders and makers and doers who come together behind this unified vision for impact, for coming as a whole and thinking about how we can focus our energy and our resources on things that are truly impactful. This is also spun off a beautiful reverse venture builder called Future Quest. And the community have been so engaged in thinking about how we can take great ideas and accelerate them and get them out into the world, and how we can support each other in our endeavors. Angela has been the type of person who is just magnetic. Every time she comes across somebody, everybody falls in love with her ideas, her heart, her presence. And so I'm really honored to bring her into the space to share with us all this idea of unity, this idea of our meaning, our purpose in life. It's going to be a 1-hour talk. We're going to begin with a gorgeous sharing from Angela, giving us context and background. Then we're going to have some time asking questions to get better context. And then we're going to go out into breakout rooms, into different teams, to start to brainstorm about some great ideas that Angela would like to, or challenges, and that she would like to bring to us as a collective, to tap into our collective knowledge and tap into our wisdom. And so without further ado, I invite to the stage Angela Bermudo to give us our first talk of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. What a beautiful introduction. I will try to be as magnetic as I am in person at 5 a.m. virtually. So hopefully that comes across. Before we get started, I would like to invite all of you on 2 different exercises. The first is I would like to invite all of you to close your eyes for a moment. And just with one another, take a deep breath in. And let it all out. Now, keeping your eyes closed, imagine yourself in a spaceship, whatever size you like, 2-person, 1-person, or one of those big ones that NASA sends up into space. And just imagine yourself climbing up, up, up into the atmosphere, past it. And pretty soon, you're looking down on this one blue planet. Maybe you can tell where you're from or where you came from in that moment. Maybe you can't. Maybe all you see is one planet without borders or anything that humanity or society really has created for itself, boundaries that it uses to define itself. And just get a sense of what that feels like to see one whole planet, and knowing that everybody that you care for, that you love, that you know is all there. Now you can open your eyes. Open your eyes. that experience of what you just had, looking back on that one, I'm going to call it a blue planet because the majority of it is blue, is something called the overview effect. And it's the same effect that astronauts get when they fly up into space. And it's in that moment that they truly realize that all those things that I mentioned previously don't exist, that we are one, that we all share the resources on this planet, that we all are, that we all are one with each other. And these boundaries and limitations that we've made for ourselves are really just that, a creation of our own that we have the ability to rewrite, that we have the ability to redesign. Now, before I get started on this talk, I'm going to partially do this for myself. And I think it was great that we had music to begin with, but I was a little shocked that nobody had stood up at all. We were like dancing a little bit in our seats, but nobody really got up. So if I could invite all of you, I'm kind of doing this for myself too, because it's 5 a.m. and I would like to get the energy in. But can I invite all of you to just stand up for a moment? And we'll do a little bit of stretching. Let's see if I can get you all to do this. Just move around, just feel your body. If I see some of you out in nature, which I am so envious of. So if you want, just like reach down, feel the ground beneath you, or maybe just the flooring, whatever it is. And then reach up into the sky, stretch a bit. Oh, it feels nice not to be in that chair. Some of you, I think, are already halfway through your day. And now shake it off. Shake it off. Whatever that is, whatever it was that you came into this call wanting to be, wanting to feel, just let it go. Just let go of all of that expectation that you put into yourself. Just move around, shake your legs out. You can stay standing up or you can sit down. I'm going to sit down, but I'm just going to sit down for the sake of where this video is and for this talk. But thank you so much. One more thing, if you could all just follow with me, put a big smile on your faces. And let's start. Extraordinary. It is the word that defines so far my purpose, but it's not in the way that people think. I, for all intents and purposes, should not be here today in the way that I appear to you. And what that has highlighted for me is not necessarily what society lauds, doing the extraordinary to be able to survive, to be able to thrive, to be able to find happiness. What that has shown for me is the deep need for us to not only redesign the world and humanity, but also to redesign it so that we can have a common future. Not common in the sense of simple, but common in the sense of shared. And something that enables everyone to thrive. And I think that's such an important component of what I will be sharing with you today, not just with regards to what we do and who we are, but also this very exciting project that I think all of you are actually the first ones to be hearing about it. As of this week, it's official. So Jeremy, good on that and getting us on a talk this week. So I'll walk you through a little bit of a story to give you an understanding of who we are. I'm coming to you as myself, a human, but also as the co-founder, as Jeremy has said, of Future Horizon and Future Quest. So I'll take you back to 2018, and Future Horizon was our first organization, which was actually born out of a Burning Man camp. So when you get to know this community, you will see many aspects, if you've ever been to the burn, that very much follow a lot of the principles that you see there. When we first started in 2018, we were a camp that was focused on really envisioning what the future could be like. particularly this vision of a protopia. And we kind of looked around us, and it's such a beautiful experience, Burning Man, but we found that almost every single one of us truly wanted to have a tangible impact when it came to creating what the future could look like. And so from there, Future Horizon was born, and we had our first inception event in 2020, right in the DR, right when the pandemic was happening. And from there, that actually helped to spring up the first few projects that we would support, including providing food and relief to the communities in the Dominican Republic, but also sending out PPE, so personal protective equipment, to communities that were not receiving them during COVID. And so that was those were kind of the first instances that we were able to see. And eventually from there, we progressed on being more, obviously being more focused on what we had set out to do, which was to create approaches and solutions that were holistic when it came to addressing climate change and the issues that we were facing in the environment because of the human acceleration to that phenomenon. And so about a year or so into Future Horizon, we had seen about 13 projects that we had supported in various different levels, whether it was helping them to launch, scale, accelerate, all those fun words that you hear in Silicon Valley, right? But basically, we were helping different communities and different projects and different teams to thrive. And collectively, they had raised about $250 million. So arguably, one might say that's a good amount of impact. However, we wanted to be hypercritical of ourselves and say, are we actually creating the amount of impact that we had set out to? Because otherwise, for us, if we weren't creating that sense of impact, then there was no point to actually pulling from resources, capital, but also the resources of people's attention. Otherwise, we should just join a different project. But there was something very beautiful and different there. And it was a very strong sense of community. And so Jeremy had called this an online community earlier, but we are actually an in-person community, and those are the strongest ties that we have. Last year was the first foray where we started kind of dabbling into online a bit more as a way of continuing to engage the community and also engage with others who might be interested, who weren't necessarily able to join us in the different gatherings that we would have around the world, because we would only have one annual gathering per year. Now, as we got that sense, we were trying to figure out okay, how can we take all of this energy and take all of these, people from within this community, which was a community of influence of people that were coming together to envision, build, and also celebrate our regenerative future. And how could we create a mechanism that would actually help us to create more impact? And so Future Quest was born. And Future Quest basically, at first we set out to kind of try to figure out a game that could incentivize people to participate and contribute to the climate challenge. In the end, from our experiences, and just, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Future Quest has only been around for a little less than a year. But from our experiences, we actually decided that we would follow what was already organically starting to show up for us, but also addressing the intentions that we had set forth when we decided to do Future Quest. So what were some of those intentions? One was we wanted to be able to support more deployments of holistic solutions that could really, be scaled to address the climate challenge, but also would be highly vetted. That could solve for the issue that we were seeing when it came to funding for different projects. So traceability, transparency, also the gridlock that we see in funding in general, and be able to provide the engagement between the funders and the founders who are leading these projects to ensure their success. And so Future Quest is now our sort of reverse venture studio and matchmaking for these high impact projects. So what does that really mean? What it means is we work with different partners to identify problem sets that they have. And these are all different organizations, projects that are looking for solutions. And instead of having them go through the research and outreach cycle individually as organizations, instead we match them with other partners who are also looking for the same thing in order to de-risk the search for innovation while pairing them up with founders who already have solutions for this, and thereby solving the issue on kind of both ends. And so much of what I'm telling you now, you can kind of get a sense of the community that that we're growing, as well as the platform. One of the dreams that some of us within the team have had, and I think something that that is bringing all of us here together, was being able to address how can we also have something tangible when it comes to bringing the community together and like being able to see some of these solutions. And so I'm so excited to share with you today a new project that we now have from a partnership, which is basically going to be the first regenerative innovation hub, physical innovation hub in Brazil. And it's extremely exciting. It's about 24 square kilometers. That's about, let's see if I can do the math here, but it's about 2/3 the size of Manhattan for anybody that's been to New York. Hopefully a lot of people have otherwise. And then I think if I can find you another number here for those who've never been there, for context, Manila is about 42 square kilometers, about just a little over half of that. So it's massive. And the exciting part about this is that 75% of it is actually already and will continue to be preserved and for conservation. Meanwhile, thank you, Jeremy. Meanwhile, unfortunately, 25% of it has gone through basically different generations of owners who have degraded the land through various forms of monoculture or really unsustainable practices, from unsustainable shrimp farming to not really taking, to certain practices with regards to farming coconut trees, etc. Now, what's really exciting about this is that our partner has actually invited us to come to this land and reimagine what we could do with that 25%. So how could we create this innovation hub that that we can actually change from, we can change the sort of trajectory that it's had from its owners. And so this is very exciting for us because last year we came to Brazil for one of our main gatherings. And part of what we've been working through is really thinking about how could we stimulate the ecosystem there. I think most of us are aware that Brazil holds 60% of the Amazon, a very important biome. But many people also don't realize that there are other key biomes that are there. And so, we were very invested in figuring out how can we continue to grow that ecosystem and how could we support it. And that's been an ongoing journey since last year. And now we're very excited for this project. And part of what I would love to invite you to do as an exercise a little bit later is to help us exactly imagine how we can create something that is shared within the community, and how can we take this project from being kind of an insular thing to something that is accessible to to all of us, for something that we can use to be able to not just inspire innovation, but also truly come together as a global community to address the challenges that we all face, but also as sort of a fun sandbox as well, to be able to ideate on how we can work together as a community or as communities coming together. I'm going to try to share my screen because I know I'm talking a lot here and not giving you a lot of visualization. I'll start off with kind of showing you a little bit of what Future Horizon is about. I hope my audio will work. Jeremy, do you know if I have to remove these lovely AirPods for audio to play?
I think it should be automatic, but let's give it a go.
Okay, let's try. Let's see. Okay. Can you hear it?
No, it's just coming through you rather than the video.
Okay. Let me do this.
To share, you have to enable computer audio.
Yeah, on the bottom left, there should be a checkbox when you do your share.
You have to start it again and then check that box.
Start the screen share again?
Yes, yes. And before you say share.
I see. Thank you.
Okay.
Fabulous. We like quick videos. And so I will share with you now a few things that will be able to give you a little bit of a sense of the project. One moment.
There's no audio with this one, so. And what you see over there with a little tent is actually a sort of glamping area. If you follow us, future.quest on Instagram, LinkedIn, and all of our other social media channels, you will hear about a very exciting version of our gathering that we will be hosting in October. And it will be on this land. So this area that you're seeing right now that's visible.
Oh, I think, have we lost Angela? Yeah, okay. So hopefully she'll be able to log back in again, but you all get the idea. This is an amazing project with amazing creatives. They've done incredible events from around the world. And this is 24 square kilometers of land that is not only going to be conserved, but it's also going to be regenerated. What could this mean? What could we do with it? How can we coordinate? And so these are the questions that Angela wanted to ask. And I'm going to put into the chat these two questions. And I'm going to put us all into breakout rooms for about 15 minutes. And so probably about 2 or 3, depending on how many we are. Into groups of about, actually maybe I'll put it into groups of about 4. And in order to amongst yourselves, these 2 questions, I'll broadcast them again. But if you can, get somebody to select a scribe. I'm going to try and put a Google Doc that we can share in the link. Oh, actually, we maybe don't need a scribe. We can just have somebody to talk about it. But how could this project, how could people be involved in this project? Have a think about that, what that might mean on a global scale or on a community scale or on an individual scale. and how can we model things in terms of contributions? So how do we see value when it's given? How do we recognize value? How do we reward value? How can we track that and recognize that there's so much giving that we do, but then also the recognition of that giving? Angela, you're back. Amazing.
Hi, Jeremy. Thank you. In my culture, when these things happen, we say that the energy was too strong. So I think the technology was overwhelmed by all of the amazing energy. But that was just to share with all of you. And what's so exciting is that you were actually the first to be able to see all of that. And so in this portion, and thank you, Jeremy, so much for, talking about shared value and all of these things, because these are some of the core questions that we have to ask ourselves, that we also at Future Horizon and Future Quest are trying to answer, right? It's one thing to talk about the one side, the one side of things when we think about like the global north and also the west, when we think that we create value, but how does that value become distributed to those that are at the very, the very front lines of this climate challenge? And so for this next part, with regards to the workshop, what we would actually love to invite all of you to actually help us to think through something, if you'd like to contribute, that we are also trying to answer ourselves. So as we create this regenerative innovation hub, part of the vision of what we want to do, what we want to accomplish is, number one, we want to create a gateway into Latin America. Not just for the global south to come in and people from the west to come in, but really as a way to exchange ideas between communities, between jurisdictions, etc., but also between different innovative founders, projects, etc., so that we can use this opportunity and share in the land to create a place where we can have a showcase of highly vetted, viable solutions for how we can address not only the regeneration of land, but also those core issues that we're facing. And so part of what we're trying to answer is, how can we get not only our community involved, but others involved? We have some ideas, but what I would like to invite you all in this exercise to do is, like, say it's just white, what's the term that they say, but just like blue skies. There we go. It's blue skies. You know that there's about 24 square kilometers. 25% of this is fairly degraded, and it's the opportunity spot basically for the regeneration. There is an area which is, due to high tides, becomes flooded with salt water every so often. And so there is an idea now to be able to turn that into actually productive soil. And we're thinking that this could be, one of the first spaces that we innovate on. But, I'd like to just kind of open forum it and invite everybody. And maybe Jeremy, you can help me ideate on how we can form this within the groups and maybe breakout sessions. And I'd like to invite you all to answer two questions. One is, how would you like to, as a community, be involved in something like this? And how could we, as sort of the organizing body of a community, work to create something that enables a community to be able to feel a full sense of ownership to something like this, so that they may, so that you might want to get involved through various ways of contribution. So I know that there's not a lot there, but the whole idea is to do a brainstorm, and I like to not, influence whichever direction people would go with, because would really love to encourage blue sky thinking here.
Amazing. Thank you, Angela. I think it's a great idea. I put in the brainstorm selection questions, roughly speaking. You've heard them. We'll post them again when you're in your rooms. There's a collaborative shared doc to throw ideas in. I'm going to put you into 4 breakout rooms with roughly 7 people in each. So maybe one person could offer to be a scribe. And also Angela can answer questions in, for example, how many people are living there currently? We've already had that as a question just come up in
Sure, absolutely. So this land, there are no inhabitants on it at the moment. So as I mentioned, 75% is just preserved mangroves, etc. So unless there's somebody hiding in the mangroves, there's no one there. Now there is the team that is, when you saw the video where the tents were, there is the team that's there that manages the camp, which is actually up and running now, and people can actually come and stay there. But if you want for a really amazing experience, come and join us in October when we do a festival version of Future Horizon.
Okay, amazing. Right, into breakout rooms, please share, and then we're going to bring you back in about 15 minutes for the harvest, for your ideas. Somebody could write it into the shared doc, and that'd be amazing. Angela, you happy joining a room as well?
Of course.
Amazing. All right, see you in a bit, everybody. 15 minutes. Okay, Angela, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for your breakout room contributions. Apologies for the co-creation doc. I didn't make it collaborative to begin with, but we managed to get some notes in there. If there's anybody who's been scribing, it would be amazing to chuck your notes in there at some point as well. But out of our
Jeremy, we didn't get the link in the breakout group, so can you put the link for that collaboration document in the chat?
Yeah. I'll repost it. Collab doc. Let's see if this works to everyone. Try that. Thank you. So is there a group? We've got like 10 minutes. Is there a group who can come and just chuck in a quick 1 or 2 minute sharp explanation of what they discovered or what they felt? Anybody want to step in? Just jump in.
I'll jump in real quick. Our group, one of the things that came up, Susan brought in the idea of eco restoration camps. And if you are working with the different camps around the world that bring people to such a place and actually do the hands-on work. And then the other was just the notion of rewilding the land. And then on the other side of it, we kept tripping over the notion of who comes there, who does that? Is it for the people of the land there, or are we bringing people from around the world? And that was a discussion, and I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have we got another breakout room who'd love to share?
I think we had the same problem. We imagined a lot of different directions in which this could go. We saw that there is a settlement nearby that seems to be one of the informations that we got from the pictures. And the question is it an isolated place? Is it an element of a larger regional system? Is it going to influence the way people in the whole region work, and so on? And we have this, of course, also this question, is it working specifically on the nature of the land as it exists, or is it a place to demonstrate the full range of possibilities that we have? So we are just full of questions. We are a question basket.
Thank you very much, Franz. We have another breakout group who wants to share quickly. We've got a couple of minutes. I can share ours. This is the traditional dream factor, is the ball pit, our working group. We were thinking about the constraints. Would it have to be a remote for our community and others to participate? And if so, who are the indigenous people who might be able to have all of the wisdom that is necessary for the land? We wouldn't know that. It'd be very hard for us to make those assumptions because we just aren't, that's not our knowledge. So what could there be around reciprocity? What could be there around transfer? So could it be that there are certain needs that the land has in terms of growing the festival space, and where you might need a planner, you might need a solar power expert, etc. And there could be an exchange, an ambassadorship where those with indigenous wisdom who've been working specifically around that land could then bring their knowledge elsewhere in the world to other festivals in return for somebody coming to Brazil, to that space, to be able to share their ideas and share their knowledge. That idea around reciprocity. And then we had another idea around creating a currency for these communities, our communities, to offset their travel by bringing tokenized credits from land conservation and regeneration, which I'm pretty sure is something that's very much kind of in your minds as being the also technologists that you are. That was our groups. Thank you very much. Anybody else got a group share, please?
Can I add something? I was with Frank and the guys in the same room, and like the first thing that came is like the why, like why this project, like why are you guys like doing it? And I think this brings like the clarifying the vision of the founders, co-founders, the first people who are there. Because if we go like directly into the what and the how to do it, then it's like an ocean of possibilities. And I feel like, especially with such an amazing, huge land, the more like that vision, or maybe like a small vision of like the first 5 years or 10 years, would make it like even, I don't know, more exciting and like more feasible in a way. So this is what I wanted to add for myself.
Yeah, and I think it might have been missed in the talk, but probably because I bombarded you with so much information. But the why is really, because we had been working in Brazil and thinking about ecosystem development there in terms of thinking about, the regenerative space, not just with regards to finance, but and Web3 and all these other things, but also the existing ecosystem when it came to, when it comes to environmental and social impact there. And because of that work and this, this opportunity coming to us, we really see it. So the vision is kind of as creating this regenerative innovation hub where ideas can be shared, where collaboration can be had by different people from all around the world in order to, create this gateway into Latin America, but in order to also be able to accelerate the progress of, of these different projects to allow them to thrive through the wisdom and knowledge sharing, and also being able to optimize on the sort of resources that are being, put into the different projects. So I'm sorry if that wasn't clear earlier. Probably would have been helpful there. But the other thing I would like to say is that, this is just the beginning. As I said, we have just finally kind of come to the final pieces of the agreement this week. And there will be other things that we're, really figuring out. And so some of you might feel as though like, oh, well, the brainstorm didn't provide anything, but it actually did. And one is that I think there is a great opportunity for us when we're, when everything is ready to communicate this in a way that's very clear from, from start to finish, in order to get different communities that are, from regenerative villages to get involved. And we'll be very excited to share that with this community here, and to see how we might be able to collaborate as this one global village. And I think with that, Jeremy, I will give it back to you, and in preparation for, I believe, the next speaker or the next part of the program.
Is there a chance to report back from our breakout group, or have we finished now?
No, please. We didn't know there was anybody who wished to step up into the group, so that would be wonderful. Thank you.
I'm just stepping in because none of us have spoken directly as participants in that group. So one point that came up is there's a lot happening in other ways, and one of the members of our group shared on a network that she's part of, and I'm sorry, Yema, I didn't quite catch the name of it now. So that led, I think, to an idea about mapping out the broader ecosystem which is emerging around this. I'm sure you've done that already, but kind of a version of it for this particular place. And then another idea that came up was thinking about residencies and how they might work, and how that can connect with the Innovation Hub. And something I'd like to add there is the role of bringing artists in to really kind of, as an artist residency, is one way of creating and mirroring to the community that's emerging. And then we had a broader discussion around the whole issue of the food economy and food miles, and the amount of trade that goes on in terms of bringing things to us, and what that means for broader changes in food and agriculture and the regenerative economy. So an idea I'd like to add there is that it might be good to look at different landscape and ecosystem futures and think about some of the forces currently driving change within them, and then think about what they need to be, how they could shift. And I think the great advantage of a scenarios approach is you don't have to know how likely it is to happen, but it kind of, you can reimagine in many, many different ways by going from the worst case to things you really want to make happen.
Amazing. Thank you, Jane. Thank you very much. If you'd love to get those ideas in that collaborative doc, that'd be really kind. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you so much, Angela, for giving us your time, your energy, incredibly early in the morning where you are in the world. The project sounds so exciting and it's so enormous that it boggles my mind. But I'm very, very hopeful that we can have more leaders like yourself who are thinking about really that deep connection, really about that coming together, that meaning, sense making. So just want to honor you. Thank you for the path and the journey you've chosen. And thank you everybody for joining us today. We're going to close this link. You can go back to the Skooks platform. You'll be able to then choose another session. After this, we have Cynthia, who has been a member of IC, International Communities, and she's going to be doing a talk on how to find your community, and it'll be wonderful. And there are also many other talks on the other stages. So thank you all very much. And maybe we could all give Angela a bit of a round of applause to say thank you for her time and her energy in this wonderful project.
Deepest gratitude to all of you for participating.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Bye-bye, everybody.